Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel with myself, Isabella. It is so exciting to do this video today because we are reacting to the Prix de Lausanne prize winners of 2026. I can't believe it's been Prix de Lausanne again. It feels like yesterday I was reacting to 2025, which was a really good year. As some of you know who've been following me on social media, I've been trying to get a little bit more of a message out there that we need to constantly remind ourselves what ballet is about and to remind students that they really need to focus more on the artistic side and the storytelling aspect of ballet. And we need to retain that in order to keep ballet alive as we know it. Obviously, things have to evolve, things have to move on, things need to build as the world builds at the same time. But we don't want the specialness of ballet, which is the fact that it's an art form, to be lost. And what I've always enjoyed about the Prix de Lausanne, I mean, the Prix de Lausanne is such a prestigious competition and a prestigious thing to do, but it really represents the highest form of ballet. You know, we're looking at these dancers from all over the world who are, as they used to tell us at the Royal Ballet School, the cream of the crop. And along with that, the people adjudicating them are also extremely high caliber professionals, ex-principal dancers, and people who are extremely knowledgeable and who are dedicated to preserving the art of ballet as we know it. And so that's what makes it different from other competitions. And that's why I do hold a lot of respect for the Prix de Lausanne. If you've been watching the process of the Prix de Lausanne, I've been dipping in and out of it, but I've been really enjoying how they've been coaching the dancers as well. So it hasn't just been about coaching their technique. Obviously technique is important, but by now, you know, they've probably been rehearsing these variations for months and months. Their technique is solid, but how they've been correcting them has been quite poetic, really, focusing on the artistic side, and that was really refreshing. And what I do enjoy about these dancers who are within this competition, especially the finalists we're going to watch now, is there's a strong sense of the artistic side, and they've worked on that heavily as well, which makes them very attractive to watch, and you can definitely visualize them being in a world-class company at some point in their career. Without further ado, let's dive in. We're going to go from the scholarship number 14 all the way up to scholarship number 1. We're just going to look at the classical variations today. If you do have desire for me to look at the contemporary variations as well, obviously contemporary is so important in this day and age of dance, so let me know if you want me to react to those as well. All right, without further ado, let's dive in. Firstly, I've got a disclaimer. If I say any of these names incorrectly, huge apologies. I will try my absolute best, but definitely forgive me if I say it wrong. I'm so sorry. So we're going to start with scholarship number 14, which is number 310. Her name is Jiyul. Hopefully that's correct. She's almost 18 years old. They've put 17.9 years old, very accurate. And she's from South Korea. I could be wrong, but I seem to remember she might be from Princess Grace Academy. I might have seen that on social media. I could be wrong because it doesn't say here, but I seem to remember that. Correct me if that's a mistake. Okay, so I believe she's dancing Pharaoh's Daughter, which is such a nice variation. Very kind of uplifting, upbeat, and you do need a lot of style and character to it. So let's watch it. Here we go, she's walking on. She matches the background, beautiful. Nice accent. She's got a sort of nice dynamic to her and energy. Confidence. Nice balance. She's good with her dynamics. I think I'd love her to use her upper back ever so slightly more to already bring out some of her nice expression, which just kind of amplifies the artistic side of it. Nice. It's quite a short variation, but it does show a lot. I have in mind Svetlana Zakharova doing this. I've seen her do it so many times. Bends her knee ever so slightly, stepping onto piqué. Oh, lovely. Really nice indeed. Takes her bow. Let's watch the bows as well. She has a nice presence about her. Okay, lovely. Nice presence to her, nice dynamic to her. And I think in terms of the artistic side, that for me, in terms of her confidence, was there. I think a lot of the times when someone smiles, it can easily just look sort of placed on and not really authentic to someone really being in the movement. But I didn't feel that with her. I felt it was nice and authentic and she was really enjoying it. Like I said, I think what brings out the artistic style a little bit more is just a little bit more use of the upper back, you know, especially she did it a little bit more on certain moments. And even when she did the bourrée forwards, it's nice to see the spiral of the back a bit more. And then just tiny things. I think the hands could have been a little bit longer in the écarté and stepping on a straighter leg in the piqué. But again, those are technical things that can be fixed. But I enjoyed her energy a lot. And it'll be interesting to see the difference between someone who's got the scholarship 14 and someone who got scholarship number 1 and see the difference there. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now we're going to look at scholarship number 13, which is number 415. The name is Milo, or Milo, but I'm assuming it's Milo. 18 years old and from the United States. I'm not going to say the surname. I'm not going to attempt the surname because it looks quite complicated, but the name will come up. Okay, let's have a look. Right, here we go. Oh, sweet. He looks nice. A Paquita Grandpa. Oh. Nice. Again, I just really enjoy the confidence. Slowly into the passe. Oof. Nice and skilled. So nice. Nice use of upper back. Well, he did that extremely cleanly. I don't think that could have gone much better for him. Nice bow, let's have a look. It's funny, isn't it? There's so much there's so much pressure that rides on this 1 minute of your life, you know, and the amount of time and effort that you've spent rehearsing these variations, and it's down to 60 seconds or 90 seconds of your life to make an impression and to make yourself stand out. What I enjoyed about Milo, I thought he was very engaging. I thought he had a lot of style in the upper body and artistic presence. Like his backbend on the renversé was gorgeous. And I find with guys and with male dancers is, and we'll look at the others, I'll be interested to see, but this is the first time as well I'm looking at them to be fresh for you guys. But I think often with male dancers, they can look quite stiff in the upper body, in the arms, for example. And so that can sometimes kind of ruin the aesthetic of the dancer. But that was really nice to see from Milo. And the only thing I would say with him is, I'm not sure how tall he is, but I think if he had slightly more power in his jumps and slightly more engaged feet during the jumps, I think the jumps themselves would look a bit more impressive. I feel like I want him to get a little bit higher in his jumps and also just have the line of his foot stretched really a bit more completely and for longer. Along with that, I think his upper body again was really nice. And I think where he needs to clean up a little bit is the linking steps, making them look so smooth and seamless as he transitions from one thing to another. But that's my kind of coach eyes on him. But in terms of the collective of the performance, I really, really enjoyed it. Okay, now we're looking at 418, which is the 12th scholarship. So we've still got a way to go. This dancer is 18 years old. So they're ready to go. And it is Mingyun Son. I think I'm saying that correctly. Mingyun Son. Nice face. Our Grandpa Classique. Oof. You see what I'm saying? Okay. This dancer has a huge jump. And it just immediately is just ever so slightly more impactful. He's, yeah, beautiful, super light. Wow. And again, very smooth in the transitions. Oof, save that kneel at the end, good. Wow. Okay, wow, yeah, that's the first time we've watched so far that I've been pretty blown away with the impact of someone's technique. And, you know, obviously we're mentioning artistry a lot, as you guys know, because it has to be preserved, it has to be thought about as much as technique, but technique is important, technique is very important, and I feel like whenever one talks about that, sometimes people decide that you only focus on that, when actually, no, I'm saying we need to think about both, and both are really important. And so, yeah, whereas with this dancer we've just watched, amazing. I think that's what I was saying with the previous dancer, Milo. I think if he had a bit more jump, then my goodness, you know, that would really take him to the next level because his artistic side is there. And this dancer we've just watched had that, you know, very smooth, very light in his jumps, very beautiful in his technique. And I think he started off with quite a lot of presence, but I think it slightly got lost halfway through, like the energy of the upper body and aplomb, ever so slightly lost. Probably because he was a little bit tired. Perhaps he could give even more. But that was amazing. Okay, now we're on to the 11th scholarship. And this is Suhyeok Bang, 18 years old, from South Korea. Number 417. He's got a cheeky grin. Here we go. He looks confident. I also just love male dancers because they just seem to just have a good time. Like they don't hold as much kind of nerves as the girls, I don't think. Dayeon. Nice floating jump. Again, you know, what really stands out with a lot of these scholarships, wow, so good, is as we get sort of higher and higher up the scholarships, everything looks slightly more and more professional and a bit easier and easier. Like they're just ready. Oh, triple. Wow. Triple tour. Really nice. Look at him, he's taking in the crowd. He did well there, he loved that. That was amazing. Again, I think they're all going to be amazing. I'm going to say that about every single one of them. He's like ready. He's ready for his contract. He's ready for his job. What I think with that particular dancer, because he's just there, like he's ready to be pushed and to catapult, you know, and to be taken into a company and given some world-class coaching and nurturing and building up. What I feel like someone like that needs is, if you think back to sort of the Vasiliev Maximova days, you know, when you watched Vasiliev performing, and he was almost, you know, Vasiliev was also extremely technically strong in everything, you know, pas de deux, in his turns, you know, amazing stuff that you've probably seen on Instagram. But what he had, that even though that was obviously impressive, you could just feel the passion exuding from him, you know, much like Baryshnikov. You were obsessed with them. Like, you couldn't take your eyes off them. And the technique being impressive was sort of an afterthought. It was just like a bonus to their insane charisma. And that dancer has everything, has the charisma, has it there. I think that side of him needs to come out more. So if I'm thinking about that variation in particular, that might have been like just a little bit more sense of, you know, character and upper body when he presented himself into that kneel, rather than it was nicely placed, but it just like could have had a bit more, I want to say, this sort of charismatic flair, you know, and that probably will come with time and the right sort of people in front of you guiding you to bring that out. But that's what I would say, you know. So if you've never watched someone like Vasiliev, definitely have a look, because you'll understand what I'm talking about. They just run on stage and you're like, okay, I'm hooked. Okay, let's move on. Now we're finally into number 10, the 10th scholarship. Super exciting. Again, from South Korea. Her name is Tae Eun Kim, and she is number 306. So let's have a look. We've seen a couple of guys, so we're back to a female dancer. Here we go. Deep breaths. 17. Well, she's nervous. She's ready though. Here we go. Oh my gosh, so exciting. I love this. What a privilege as well. What a privilege to be there doing this. Nice. Gamzati. What a beautiful tutu. That's such a gorgeous tutu. Attitude turns. Could be a little bit more turned out in the landings of the attitudes, and also the transitions, stepping into a turn and running. I feel like this is a good test of this variation, is how you use the upper body on the soutenu. I think there could be more. She's got a beautiful jump. Really nice. Let's look at her bow. She had a nice soft upper body as well. I think she did that so nicely, really nicely. But if you think back to the story a little bit there, and the role of Gamzati, you know, and the type of character Gamzati is, even though this is, you know, obviously out of context, it's just a variation for a competition. I think it would have been nice to see a little bit more of that kind of character of Gamzati come through. You know, she's a confident woman with an agenda. So I think it would have been good to have seen that a little bit more. Technical things, like I said, like holding the turn out a little bit, how she transitions, the jump is there, and I think I would have liked to have seen a little bit more dynamic and hold with certain things, like holding the écarté before she transitions into this massive jump, because that was, you know, really impressive. And then maybe slightly softer arms on the last final grand jeté. The tutu as well was beautiful, so whoever's chosen that, well done, because that was stunning. I've never really seen a pink tutu for Gamzetti. Have you? Guys, let me know down below if you've seen a pink tutu. I haven't really. I mean, underneath. But that was a really nice detail. All right, guys, number 9. So now this dancer is from Romania, 18, and the name is Dragos Gramada, 413. All right, here we go. I love seeing their face before they come on. From Romania. Nice. Huge jump. He looks so chill. He looks very calm. I like the accent of the head. Nice, nice. Oh, bless him. Lovely. It's always so lovely when they bow. Just, I can feel the relief from the screen. Really nice. I think, again, with that dancer, it's really interesting, actually, because looking at them, I was slightly more impressed with some of the earlier ones that came, rather than, you know, particularly this dancer. I would have maybe given some of the ones who had the later scholarships, like 13, 14, you know, more of this sort of place from my perspective, just because I felt a bit more charisma from some of the others, you know? I mean, technically, I think the consensus is going to be, you know, there's always going to be things to improve. That never really ends. For me, it's like, who has that kind of star quality at this stage, you know, because the technique is not, it's like all their technique's going to be good. So it's going to come down with how do they use the dynamic of their technique? How do they, you know, play with light and shade a little bit within their technique? How do they hold things? Do they go slightly quicker here and there? How do they use their music? How do they present themselves and present to the public, you know? With this dance, I mean, that variation looked like it was a piece of cake. Like, that looked so easy for him, almost too easy. So that I think he could have gone a bit more above and beyond, a bit more, maybe even over the top a little bit with how he presented himself. Like, it was quite subtle, but I think I would have liked to have seen a little bit more presence in the upper body and even the face. So guys, let me know what you think. These are just my open opinions from watching these things once. Like, I haven't studied them or watched them beforehand. Let's move on. So this is number 8, the 8th scholarship, and this dancer is from Belgium, and her name is Jetro. Thijs, really young, 15 and 6 months. So this will be exciting. Wow, well done. Seriously, 8th place, the 8th scholarship, and you're 15. Hats off to you. Okay, so number 203. Let's have a look. Oh my God, look at him. He's so young. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh. Oh, such a beautiful, cute face. See, I already feel it. He's in it. Wow. So clean. Gorgeous soft arms as well. This, I'm saying, it's quite rare. We're playing with his dynamic. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, really playing with his dynamic. Yeah. Obviously, there's strength to be built up, but he's 15. Oh, well done. Oh my gosh. I'm sure it's intimidating competing with 18-year-olds because, you know, the gap between 15 and 18 when you're that age and the amount of strength you build up when you're 15 to 18 is a lot. It's not to be forgotten about. Like, you build so much strength. What we've been speaking about, this dancer again showed it, and it became instantly clear. You know, when he came on, he was in the story and he was in the character. And I think the real telltale sign is when you kind of forget that you are watching someone competing in a competition. You know, you're kind of just very drawn into the story they're telling with this variation. And what makes a variation so enjoyable is when someone plays with dynamic. And this dancer hasn't even reached his technical peak yet in strength. He's just getting there. And to have that kind of sense of ability to play with dynamic and already have that innate sense to do so, obviously his teachers would have guided him somewhat, but that really has to also be felt, is huge. And I think the judges giving him 9th place is a really great thing to do because it shows that he's one to watch. He has so much ongoing potential and he's already proving himself to be something of the future. There's things to work on technically here and there, but I was super impressed with that. Okay, now we're looking at South Korea again, 7th scholarship, number 309, and the name is Ara Shin, and she is 17 and 9 months. All right, here we go. Capelia, Swanhilda, wedding variation. Again, nice dynamic, nice use of upper body. You know, I've seen a lot of people do this variation and it really comes down to how you present yourself, how you use your character, how you use your épaulement. Because, you know, at the end of the day, there's so much talent out there. Everyone can do steps. And what's going to stand out is how you present yourself. Again, she's beautiful. Gorgeous quality. She's, again, much like the previous dancer, telling a nice story. Nice jump. Again, everything looks easy. I'd say the feet need to be worked on in transitions because when she's actually doing steps, it's really beautiful. Wow, nice. Let's look at her bow. Gorgeous. I can already see her doing a whole ballet. Like, I can see her already in that ballet, in Coppelia, doing it. I think as well that for me shows that sign of, oh, they're ready. When I can picture them doing the variation within the ballet, I get excited about that, because I think, oh, there is someone who can keep this art form alive, you know, and who has a future in this. As I've said, there's so much talent out there with technique these days, and that's not really as much of the issue. I mean, it can be for sure, like people skip the foundations and then there's a lot of like mess you need to clean up and go back, and they don't want to go back because it's not as fun. So you have those sorts of issues. But let's say, you know, when someone's worked on that and they've perfected their technique, the number one thing that they have to learn, which they haven't, is how to tell a story and how to move artistically in the upper body, rather than just having it added on afterwards. They should be really learning this like within their class and within their exercises. And so that was really nice, what I just saw. And she stood out as someone who was just really telling the story. And you tell the story not just with your face, but it's the movement of your artistry, but also your dynamic. So, you know, notice how she put her foot down slowly sometimes. Like that makes you feel different, as opposed to someone putting their foot down faster. You know, you feel something different with that. It's emotes something else. And the dancers who are aware of that are the dancers who just go up a level. And so I find that always very fascinating. And that's kind of the thing I'm watching for when I look at a dancer, is how it's all coming together. That's becoming clearer as we look closer and closer to Scholarship 1. Again, let's see, because obviously this is the consensus of the panel's opinion. But that's what's coming out a bit more for me than some of the previous scholarships. Now we're going to look at number 6, which is number 213, Yufei Cao, and they are from China. Lovely male dancer again. 16 years old. 16, still super young. Here we go. Gorgeous feet. So chill. He just looks kind of like, you know, soloist level already. I really like the line of his feet. Lovely, long, elegant lines. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. I think we're looking at a future Siegfried. A future prince. He's got that princely look to him. There's something very elegant about the kind of the long limbs, how he's using his feet, and yeah, he would definitely suit a Siegfried type role. And he's giving off kind of soloist confidence, like, yeah, here I am doing my thing, thank you so much, you know. He's got a nice maturity about him, and again, he's just ready. Let's move on. Now we're looking at number 5. It is getting real now. Number 5 scholarships from Japan. We haven't had anyone from Japan before. Yusei Sai, 15 years old. Oh my gosh. Number 201. Loads of them do this variation. Wow. I think it's just done the same variation. Isn't that interesting? That's very interesting. We've just watched someone do the exact same variation. And now this guy who's a bit younger and a bit smaller is doing the exact same variation. Beautiful body, beautiful lines, insane technique. He has a bit more charisma, in my opinion. A bit more presentation in himself. And his linking steps are beautifully clean in his feet. That for me is a big one, like the linking of everything. That was incredible. That was really good. That was excellent. Excellent. Wow. 15. Let me just say you're on your way. That dancer has everything. What I think is interesting is he's completely different to the dance we watched before. The dance before was definitely taller and gave off a completely different vibe. Even though they've done the same variations, I'd stand by, that dancer definitely gave off Siegfried. Whereas this dancer gives off more of a kind of Don Quixote vibe, like, you know, a kind of Baryshnikov flair. And I can really see him as well. I mean, he's only 15, my goodness. He's going to be insane by the time he graduates. Loved him. And I think he totally deserves to have that prize and have that place. Amazing. Okay, guys, it's getting real. I say this every time. We're down to number 4, China again. 18, the name is Yihan Qin. Number 314. 18. Beautiful crown. Nice feet. Gorgeous, nice upper body. Beautifully smooth. This is a very hard variation from Raymonda. Just this beginning section with the control. I think with this variation as well, because it is quite long, you need to really focus on how you're utilizing your upper body and keeping it interesting and dynamic. Everything has to be smooth and controlled. She's got beautiful sense of turnout in the lower legs. Nice. I'm really enjoying her feet, to be honest, and her legs. The shape. That was gorgeous. That was really lovely. She has star quality, that one. You know, I think you always know when someone has something quite special when you just go a bit quiet yourself. Whenever I would watch people like Olga Smirnova and things like that, you know, when I had the privilege of watching her in school even, or just up close. You know those dancers you love, who you just watch and you're mesmerized by, and you're kind of taken somewhere and slightly intoxicated by their movements. She had some, you know, she had some elements of this, like beautiful in terms of how her appearance, stunning, beautiful. Her shape of her legs, her use of feet, her use of her turnout was just kind of so juicy and articulate that it was just so satisfying to watch. Along with that, everything she just did was incredibly smooth and technically strong, and there was no fault to that whatsoever. And that is, even though she made that look incredibly easy and like nothing, that's really difficult. Really difficult to do and to achieve that with that variation. So yeah, and she's got something special. Now we're looking at number 301, the third scholarship. This dancer is from China. The name is Jingxinyu Huang, 17 years old. Oh, she looks lovely. She's ready. She looks sweet. Oh wow, my favourite variation. Third place. I really hope she watched Lepakina for some inspo. It's nice for sure. Just because I have been coached on this so much. There's just certain things which I know kind of Vaganova teachers would highlight, which is just like how you utilize the elbows, like as the arms come up, especially in the poses, a little bit more. So it just gives a little bit more elegance. But again, there's a nice maturity to her. And she's playing with different dynamic that, you know, I haven't seen so much before. The dynamic in this is a stronger than I know it. As in, I would interpret it to be a little softer, I think. And here I would want to see potentially her back a bit more, you know. But that's a nice way of turning around. Interesting. Very interesting. She did that very nicely. I think it's still, I mean, again, only 17, but I think it lacked a little bit of how she utilized the elbow, and there were some areas where it was quite sharp when potentially it didn't need to be as sharp as that, like a little bit softer in some areas. But again, technique, how she presents herself, and I enjoy how a lot of some of the maturer dancers here, obviously more experienced, are really keeping the rib cage down. Like there's a real sense of flatness in the rib cage, which really gives more sense of maturity as a dancer. They all have this, but I thought it was worth highlighting. Like when they're in the tutu, they're very flat here, which gives this maturity to their appearance. Whereas a lot of young dancers you'll see, just because again there's not quite the core strength there, they haven't quite developed it enough, awareness even of that area, the rib cages flare in the tutu and instantly the performance looks a little bit more immature. But there's this sort of calmness when the rib cage is down, and that's what kind of makes it almost seem a bit effortless, you know. Technically beautiful. I think I would have wanted to see her use her back a bit more and express herself. But they've given her third place, and that's amazing. So now we're up to second place, South Korea. Dayeon Yeom, number 302. I'll be honest, with this dancer, I've seen her around, definitely, because her school, she's not so prevalent on social media herself, but her school is posting quite a lot. And so I've become aware of her from her academy posting her. She's extremely technically strong. She has a real sense of confidence to her and security in her abilities. I have seen some of this variation on social media already, only parts of it, so I've been interested to see the whole thing. But I enjoyed it how she didn't change much. You know, you've seen Esmeralda variations where they really tried to whack in a lot of tricks and make it seem more impressive, I don't know, to get extra points or to have more of a chance of winning. But she didn't really change that. And I want everyone to kind of pay attention to that, because what she did do though was make the choreography extremely dynamic, extremely interesting. With her technical ability, she brought out the dynamic and the artistic side of it. So let's have a watch and then hopefully you can see what I mean. And she's also done a lot of performances, I think. She's quite experienced. Nice use of shoulders. Yeah, she has, again, you see what I'm talking about? There's just, there's this real sense of style and dynamic. Nice and musical. Isn't trying to do 5 pirouettes. This is what I'm saying, guys, like you must pay attention. She's doing an adequate amount of turns. She can probably do more, but she's not. Nice on the music. But what's more interesting is her artistic quality. She's technically really strong, but she just has a flair. She's worked on her upper body a lot. Look at that, strong Ballet. Very strong leg. Beautiful holds. Look at that. Smooth coming down. And then she was really on the music. That was a professional level performance. That was excellent. That was really, really good. Yeah, guys, that was a professional level performance, and I think that's why she got second place. It couldn't have been much better. From the moment she did that échappé, you felt the sense of how she used her upper body and dynamic. And I think, you know, how many times have we seen that échappé in Esmeralda and it just looked like nothing? And that's what makes the difference between someone who's good and someone who's potentially great, you know, is how they first of all present themselves. And yeah, she did 3-4 pirouettes because she can, but she retained herself on the music. She never jeopardized that, and she didn't jeopardize the landing or the preparation and go to town with the swivel of her arms or anything. And she always played a lot of importance in the style and the presentation, and all in all that came together and made it pro level. So seriously well done. I'm impressed and a fan of that. I think it was brilliant. Now we're up to number 1. Oh my gosh, we made it, guys. The first scholarship is number 424. His name is William, 18 years old and 7 months. And he's from the United States. Oh my gosh, here we go. So 424, here we go. Oh, I'm excited. Right, let's see, because there's been a lot of talent here. I'm interested to see. Here we go. Huge jump again. He's just got that. He's got energy about him. It was really sweet when I was watching him watching him being given his prize. He was so shy and shocked, I think. Oh, lovely. Really nice. Gorgeous, William. It's so fascinating, guys. Oh my God, that concludes. It's so fascinating because I think with William, if I'm thinking with all the others, I mean, I'm sure they're in the sort of deliberating room, and I'm sure it's a really, really difficult decision. You know, looking at him compared to like one of the others, I think with him, again, the only thing that was slightly better or different that kind of clinched it a little bit was his energy. And again, I was just kind of, there was no moment where I was like thinking about other things or even sort of assessing his technique that much. Like his technique was so clean, it all flowed from one thing to another, and his energy was just kind of so engaging, you know, even through the screen. I was kind of with him the entire time and felt that, and he didn't lose any energy halfway through. He really kept that alive and up right until the very end. And so, yeah, I think that's, you know, maybe something that stood out at the time. I'm so impressed with the standard of 2026. Obviously, I'm sure there have been so many incredible dancers throughout the entire process, and you should all be so proud of yourselves for being accepted into the Prix de Lausanne, having that experience and getting as far as you did. You know, don't feel bad if you didn't get as far as you wanted, or if you really had your heart set out on getting a certain level or prize. You did so well. But to these prize winners, you know, congratulations. There's something special about all of you, and you're all unique in your own way. And I think one thing to take away for all of you that I've noticed, which is amazing, is that you are all focused on the right things. You're all focused, yes, on your technique. Like all of your technique is really almost flawless, and it's really just tidying things up now here and there for some of you, but nothing that won't come just with maturity, growth, building strength, you know. So keep going. But the artistic presence from all of you and the artistic focus on your dancing from all of you is really prevalent and really enjoyable and exciting and reassuring to watch. And I think it bodes well for the future, you know, of ballet. So take everything that the coaches have said to you at Prix as well. Obviously, it's a very short time to spend with someone to get feedback, but, you know, their voices of wisdom are so kind of such a gift. And so if someone's telling you, you know, certain things about how to bring out more of the poetry of the movement, really hold on to that and take it with you throughout your career. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this and if you had any opinions about some of the dancers. Obviously, you know, bear in mind that they may well see this and they're still very, very young. And so please always keep your comments respectful and kind, because you know, they work really, really hard, and ballet is so difficult, and there's a lot of self-deprecation that can happen because we're never truly satisfied. And so I'm sure the comments are going to be super positive about the dancers. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Lovely to see you all, and I will chat to you very soon. Bye for now.